The Who came to Goa. Lots of rock bands from the US would come and quietly live in Goa. Mansoor Khan, who has produced Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak,
yes.
Amir's cousin, is a
Yes.
soul brother of mine, and said, I want a singer from Bombay who will sing in Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium for 1 lakh people. It will be live to the nation. And the event we are having is called the Pre-Olympic Games. I sold entertainment to about 17 hotels.
Okay.
And I was staying in the Fort Aguada in Goa with a phone. I didn't perform.
Namaskar. I am Dr. Meera Das and I welcome you to Vartalaap. Go? Okay. नमस्कार. वार्तालाप में आपका स्वागत है. यह प्लेटफॉर्म सेलेक्टेड सब्जेक्ट पर सब्जेक्ट एक्सपर्ट्स के साथ एक मीनिंगफुल डेलिब्रेशन करने का एक एफर्ट है. ये सब्जेक्ट एक्सपर्ट्स जो अपनी डीप अंडरस्टैंडिंग और इंसाइट्स पाते हैं, ये बहुत लंबे एक्सपीरियंस से पाते हैं. और ये एक्सपीरियंस और इंसाइट्स एक फॉर्मल एजुकेशन नेटवर्क से एस्केप कर जाता है. और हमारा ये एफ़र्ट है कि ये जो एक्सपीरियंस है वो इच्छुक लोगों तक पहुंचा सकें और वो इसका लाभ ले सकें. आज हमारे साथ जो अल्वारेस जी हैं. वेलकम जो अल्वारेस जी.
थैंक यू.
जो ने कई फील्ड्स में बहुत ख्याति, इंटरनेशनल ख्याति प्राप्त की है. जैसे कि उनका रुचि जो है वो स्पोर्ट्स में, म्यूज़िक में, और आप एक बहुत बड़े राइटर भी हैं. और जैसा कि मैंने पहले कहा था कि इंटरनेशनली वेल नोन हैं, वेल एक्लेम्ड हैं. हम आज इनसे बातचीत करेंगे. वो हमको अपने बारे में बताएंगे, उनकी जर्नी कहाँ से शुरू करी उन्होंने और आज तक वो जो उसकी कौन कौन सी ट्रैजेक्टरी रही उसके बारे में बात करेंगे. जो जी आप अपने बारे में कहाँ से शुरू करेंगे आपके ऊपर है, पर हम बहुत सारा एम्फेसिस जो है वो म्यूज़िक के ऊपर चाहेंगे, क्योंकि आपका म्यूज़िक का जो फील्ड है वो एक ऐसे समय में शुरू हुआ जब बहुत इंडिया राइप नहीं था इस किस्म के म्यूज़िक के लिए, और आपने उसको कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँचाया. तो आप अपने बारे में बताएं, फिर म्यूज़िक के बारे में बताएं.
ज़रूर. So, if you permit me, I'll continue in English.
You're most welcome to talk in any language.
I'd like to start by introducing the source of my music interests. I was naturally endowed by God, as everybody else is, with the talent of good voice, and automatically took to music, rhythm and composition and melody and thing as an inspirational tool in thought, in progression. It began with my studies in Mussoorie in the hills under Irish Christian brothers in St. George's College, where we were obviously educated in English in a great public school, and this was a very famous school for athletics and churning out sportsmen. A lot of my contemporaries are admirals and fighter pilots and stuff like that. And so I excelled in my younger years in 100 meters and 200 meters and javelin. I was the state junior champion in Maharashtra for this discipline, 100, 200 javelin throw. So what I got in Mussoorie was absolute athletic prowess. I was an average student, so my grades were not so anything to write home about, but I excelled on the sports field in most elements and disciplines that I took. Now, I was also singing. I always hummed and sang and whatever to myself. And I would listen to in our days, early 60s, school days, we got to listen to English music only from something called Radio Salon and the Saturday Date.
Okay.
There was a program called Saturday Date that all my contemporaries of my time educated themselves on Western tunes and listened to the kind of music that was playing on Saturday Date on All India Radio. That was our only listening, our only influence as before 10 years old. You know, you're listening into your early teens, you're listening to this. Then came the advent of traveling and my parents going to Europe and sometimes coming back because they knew I loved music. They would come back with an album or two and I would be listening to that kind of stuff that they bought and stuff like that. But principally, our musical education in the Western music story was to listen to Saturday Date.
Okay.
And I would sing those songs, try to emulate what I'm hearing. And that was my kind of riyaz at that time, to catch a song and sing it many times, whatever I liked. Now, this went on in the early years till I reached my very early teens, about 15 and a half, where I won an All India singing competition
Okay.
in Mumbai. I won the vocal contest and they asked me at 15 whether I would like to be their lead singer.
Okay.
The band was called the Savages, and the Savages were a very popular rock pop band
Ji.
in 1968-69. And so I joined the Savages that had Remo also in the band.
Okay.
And he was the lead singer, but I kind of replaced him after 3 months of me joining.
Okay.
He took a back seat in the band and he became an individual musician at that time and, left that band. So I was lead singer of this very popular band called the Savages when I was 15 and had a 2-year stint with them, did a lot of lovely events, shows. There was no Bollywood or DJ at that time.
Ji.
Bollywood hadn't arrived to obliterate English music on the mass level till around 2005. So we had a field day from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s into 2001 and 2. So Savages was my first band. I was most thrilled to be lead singer from a schoolboy into lead singer of a very popular rock band in Bombay already. And then I found Ki Savages, I had 2 years with them, and by that time I started listening to more progressive music. And as the influences opened and then Woodstock appeared on the world platform, that changed absolutely the focus of everything, revolutionized the music, revolutionized the attitudes. We were no more good boys. We became rebels. And, we were anti-establishment. The hair grew, toned jeans came in, and everything else that comes with that flower children period. So I left the Savages and joined then a very, very heavy rock band called Atomic Forest.
Okay.
That was the most prominent band in the country at that time that had the cream of musicians.
Ji.
Brilliant guitar players, classic drummer, great bass player, owned foreign amplifiers, which was a luxury at that time for Indian bands to have because everybody was playing on Ahuja equipment and sounding,
basic,
trying to emulate Led Zeppelin, but you sound like shit because your speakers are, local, your amplifiers can't take the load, the drum kit is made locally. So I was fortunate to join Atomic Forest because they had like Fender equipment. These are basically rich kids in Bombay that have rich parents but were also musically well endowed to be able to get foreign equipment. And so I was privileged to join that band and had a great 2-3 year university predominantly arena performance.
Okay.
Over 2-3 years. We used to play to stadiums, we used to play to college halls, Sophia, St. Mary's School, St. Xavier's College Quadrangle, then, various stadiums like Hyderabad. But we were already playing to about 10, 15, 20,000 kids in college festivals, in stadiums.
So these were usually covers, or they were usually covers.
So the first 4 years, because songwriting, individual songwriting for Western musicians hadn't started by then, because we've just got hit with Woodstock, our influences. We are taking in all that. We are taking in a culture. It's a counterculture. We are rebelling against our parents, against dogma, against the church, against religion. We want to do everything that is not advocated by all these authorities. And rock music made it possible that we achieved a lot.
So was there an
anti-establishment kind of dream come true scenario where, but it also had its negatives. But let's talk about the positives. You were going to ask me something?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, when you say that it was anti-establishment, was there ever a visible opposition to whatever you were singing, or did the students and the children kind of just carried it through and faced it individually, whatever?
No. The shock, the pleasant shock of Woodstock and all the rock music and the exceptional bands that came out of that waved right over the masses. There was no anti-rock kind of lobby among the kids, among my contemporaries. The elders just got had to be sitting back, because this was a mass movement. Everybody was into rock. And pubs opened, clubs opened, started playing little rock bands here and there. And so rock ruled for...
And Bombay was such a ripe place to have it.
Absolutely, because
Bombay was...
it was an economic capital then, industry, wealth, influences to foreign records and CDs and whatever else being available. Most there was something called the Jazz Yatra, in which even rock musicians were brought. So Rang Bhavan was there, a major place where the Police played, for example, Sting, before he broke up. The Police were in Bombay. Led Zeppelin played, the Santana, the Who came to Goa. Not Santana, the Who came to Goa. Lots of rock bands from the US would come and quietly live in Goa. And then there's the famous story of the Beatles and Harrison and Maharishi Yogi.
That's
all that
60 song.
So that whole period was a very dynamic period for in the flesh. Spirit was completely wasted, and the flesh was dancing in everything that was rock and everything that rock professed. But I was in this underground kind of band, Atomic Forest. We didn't play regular rock. We played very intricate music because the musicians were brilliant. I used to do songs from Frank Zappa. Nobody played Zappa. Zappa is known as an intellectual, and did classical music. But his rock phrases were so complicated and so thrustful that mediocre musicians could not handle it. In this Atomic Forest, always had the cream. And they gravitated to this band because that band aspired to sound like Emerson, Lake and Palmer or Frank Zappa or these kind of bands that were musicians' music, not mass.
No mass.
Yeah. So we had that kind of a little underground outfit in Bombay. And then I joined, after 3 years in Atomic Forest, I joined a band called the Savage Encounter. For a little while, and then I had a band called Sky, SKYE. That so this is from the 70 to 77. era where I burnt my life from athlete to rock star. I mean, we were famous all over the country already. I had my first album out in 1975 on Polydor labels.
You didn't mention that.
Yeah, with the Savages,
Yeah,
because that guy, the drummer, worked as a director in Polydor.
Okay,
So he
okay.
said, before we split the band, let's do an
do
album
this.
and make it a milestone for the musicians. No Indian band had recorded at that time Western music, but covers. We recorded covers. So that was one little milestone with the Savages. We did the first album.
And were there more independent places where you were doing other than the colleges? Did the
The
band performances?
Yeah, so there were clubs that opened. There was a very popular several in Bombay called Hell, discotheque called Hell. There was a discotheque called Blow Up in the Taj where I sang for nearly 3 years.
You mentioned
And we had
that
major
also.
salaries and we were earning a lot of money at that time. Blow Up, Hell. There was a place called Slip Disc, just near Radio Club in Bombay, next to the Taj, down the road. That also had rock bands playing. There was a club called Bullock Cart in Kala Ghoda.
Okay.
And so these were the 4 major rock clubs that had even gigs in the morning.
This is when the Rhythm House and all that had come up?
Yeah. Rhythm House was existing already before that, little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is like from 70 to 2000.
Okay.
This blast. Yeah. And so these clubs played, we were playing at 11 in the morning, rock sessions. So hardly anybody went to college. All the college kids used to come. I was in St. Xavier's. But we went to the college, attendance marked, and we are in the club at 11 playing, So there were morning sessions, there were afternoon sessions, there were night sessions. So rock really ruled the university space in Calcutta as well, Bangalore as well, Delhi as well.
Okay.
But Bombay
so were you going to Calcutta and
Yeah,
Bangalore?
we played a lot in Calcutta, a lot in Bangalore, because Bangalore naturally espoused to music and had a great music community of one of the best
the
rock
60s?
bands came out of Calcutta. I mean, Calcutta
Calcutta
and Bangalore.
Okay.
So every city threw out some great talent. Bangalore and Calcutta are famous for that.
Okay.
Bombay had the king's platter.
Yeah.
Because of opportunity, because of the kind of money that we were paid. And as like New York, you establish yourself. If you can cut your teeth in New York, the whole world will accept you as a jazz musician, for example. So Bombay was that kind of a place in India ki bhai, if you're a rock musician in Bombay and you're earning well and you're doing contracts and stuff, you're established, So this is all an evolutionary thing that happened. It didn't exist before. The scene in Mumbai and Calcutta and other thing were big bands, jazz bands in the Taj playing right up to 1960, European bands. But Woodstock blew everything out of the window and hit the university scene and the kids. And
it's also the kind of music which kind of had a reach,
powerful,
which
man.
cut through.
Rock is powerful. Rock is like rock is king. So it's all groove dominance. It's power. It's not. You cannot be a lamb and play rock. You have to be a lion. So it was
of rhythm also.
Leonine music, strong backbeat. And great guitar riffs. Jimi Hendrix, god of guitar. I mean,
it was all over
there were
the world.
legends coming out of the US, left, right, and center, and we in India were trying to emulate and handpick and try to sound like this and sound like that. But we were always intelligent musicians wanting to become better. So we never got into doing just Deep Purple or just Led Zeppelin or just Frank Zappa. We kind of learnt the best of the best, and our repertoires always were mixed with a little blues, hard rock. We chose different bands, our influences. Being a singer, I used to listen to more vocal bands than instrumental bands. And so everything was a learning process to do better in what you're doing. But
Also-
rock finally had its effect on my health and my athletic disposition. And in the late 70s, I realized that I need a change.
Yeah.
And so in Kashmir, I sat in meditation once and had a inspirational moment where I called out to a creator and said, if there is a God, you have to take over this ship because it seems to be sinking.
Okay.
And I got a voice saying, get up, cut your hair, leave the music, go back to where you're planted, and I will tell you what to do from there. And I was so desperate to change that I got up, I cut my hair, I came back to my father, I fell at his feet, I stopped the band and the music overnight, I stopped what I was doing overnight, I was heavy into dope, smoking hashish,
Okay.
as everybody else was. And we did a little bit of LSD and all that happened. I mean, that was all going on, part and parcel of the rock years of 90% of the musicians.
It's also hippie times. It's also the time when India was really kind of impacting the Western world, and
Absolutely.
the Western world was suddenly opening up to many
there
more
was a lot of
countries and exchange happening.
Our yogis were going there and
Yeah,
teaching
true.
Indian spirituality, and we were getting into their rock, and everybody wants a white girlfriend. I had a lot. And but I'm just saying that was a fascinating era that blew India into another consciousness, the youth, and changed the pace of activity in an education that was not university based.
True.
This is the bomb from
exactly.
culture, and a lot of us.
Even today, it's not in the universities.
No,
I mean,
no. So,
but
Say, no,
so I had an opportunity to work with Air India and their art collection. So whatever was happening in the field of music was also happening in the field of art. So and I personally think that Air India was playing a major role in this
promotion.
Acting as a conduit to the Western world and to the world outside India.
Bobby Kuka was responsible.
Bobby Kuka was there. Plus, the planes were going. They were also promoting artists. They were also taking painters and musicians all over the world. Yeah. And so it all kind of came together.
Yeah, it was an explosive decade that had its great effects and also had a lot of negative effects that a lot of people perished in the experimentation of that. A lot of us got through, but I changed overnight. So stopped music 1977, came to my father's factory, got back my education. I dropped out of Inter Arts when I joined the rock band, and worked in my father's industry in Thane. We had a bimetal bearing factory. And I high tech like Sushil Prakash, my friend here. And I finally worked with him for about 12 to 14 years. Very clean, in which period I became a martial artist. I got heavy into spirituality. I had dropped everything overnight. There were no withdrawal symptoms. I got very deep into meditation, Vedic studies. I started doing transformational process of Indian dynamic meditation, which only India knows. If you want to know thyself, the knowledge of that science, the science of that is only available in India. And I delved there very early and got into stuff like dynamic meditation, deep breathing, doing chanting, Maun. I practiced silence for 20 years, once a week, every day for 20 years. I read the lives of saints. I practiced charity, fasting. I mean, I went to gurus. I started learning processes. But I grew and I grew and I grew with clarity, wisdom, which are the endowments of those pursuits. And in the meantime, I did my riyaz. I used to work in my dad's factory and come home, but for 3 hours I would sing in my room when I came back. So I never lost sight of the music.
Yeah.
But in not performing rock, I started listening to R&B, funk, jazz, production, and then I started to aspire to singing that kind of music.
Yeah.
This change happened in my home
Yeah.
in those 14 years that I worked in my industry.
Okay, okay.
And from rock, I gravitated into great chord changes and loved, for example, Stevie Wonder revolutionized
Yes.
my life.
Okay.
Herbie Hancock and, Miles Davis on the jazz front. And then all the great black producers, black blues, gospel singers.
Yeah.
So
Think
rock had its time
Rita Simone.
for me till 77. But even now, the basis of my compositions, my grooves are rock oriented, though they may have jazz overtones. So that has not left me, and my vocal thrust is rock blues kind of thing, though I'm a jazz singer.
Okay.
I'm not like a Sinatra, I'm a hardcore rock jazz singer.
Okay.
So this change happened during those 14 years of industry time and studying and working in the factory. But I grew as a musician, as a singer with taste and aspiring. Like, there's a whole bunch of souls that love classical music.
Yes.
They're connoisseurs of that field.
Yeah.
So I gravitated from rock to R&B, funk, jazz, great ballads, great melodies, great composition, great lyrics, and enjoyed the variability and the creative freedom of that kind of affair that not necessarily existed in the rock idiom. So
You were increasing your bandwidth.
in terms of my taste, my ability to give back, and my inspirational outputs grew with the kind of stuff that I was listening to. It was automatic gravitation to that. And rock was slowly, gradually from the 70s, by like 1990, there were a few rock bands really hitting it out, like Rock Machine. They're like 10 years younger than me, but they were on the top of the game at that time, and rock still ruled till 2000. But I went into this kind of jazz, rock, blues, gospel thing, and still working with my father. Then, because of labor problems, my factory in Thane had to close down. We had a very big factory. We had 500 workers and major turnover in the 80s. But because of Dr. Datta Samant, he is credited with closing a lot of industries in Bombay. We finally closed down in about 88, 89, 88.
Okay.
And we sold our land to construction and housing and stuff. Then with my forte of management experience of 14 years with the factory and my forte of talent and the rock experience and the contacts with all the hotel industry and the places for which whom I had already become a star in the 70s, I came back to music. I formed a band and immediately got a contract in the Taj and started playing in the Taj just for 6 months to be seen by the Mumbai and the world audience ki bhai, this is
and what was the band's name? Is it
no, there was no name, just Joe Alvarez.
And
I handpicked my musicians, but here I introduced R&B ballads, not pop, but R&B, rock, funk, blues. So I changed the whole structure because this is what I was listening to in the last 14 years, and I had absorbed all that, and that was new then for the city. And
but then that was your journey.
That was my journey.
So you are coming through a certain kind of experiences.
Yeah, so I brought commercial experience of an industry
into.
So now I knew how to sell the music. I didn't depend on anybody.
Which is very critical.
I was not waiting for promoters. I knew what to do. I was selling bearings for 15 years. Now I'm selling music. So
Now that's not a very unusual combination.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that has now
Mm.
taken me from then
Mm.
to here.
Okay.
The commercial experience,
Uh-huh.
and then getting into the entertainment industry with a scientific and management point of view,
Uh-huh.
yet powered by pure talent.
Yeah.
So
So this kind of combination of learning management and having music, that's a barrier which a lot of musicians face today.
correct.
I mean, you are a musician and
Right.
that's it. That's
Right.
where things stop.
Right. That's
And I mean, I'm sure people would have taken, you would have given direction to a lot of people who could follow your path and learn.
lots.
And
Lots.
if I know whatever little I know about you, I mean, there's always so much more to know.
Yeah.
You were also promoting a whole lot of artists,
I was.
and you were
Because
so you
I
kind-
always believed in giving somebody a platform,
Mm,
because
yeah.
I knew my own heart's desire
Yeah.
from being a child, looking for a promoter,
Huh.
waiting to be promoted, enjoying the benefits of stage and the limelight. And as a human being,
Uh-huh.
you tend to want to see the other person also who's
Also
talented
grow.
to be
True.
there. I mean, you had that privilege, so you try to create something for somebody else. So I've been doing that
Yeah.
for
But
many
Joe,
years.
that happens only when you are very satisfied with what you have achieved, and somehow internally you feel that I have arrived. Now there is much more that you can give to the society and the people and all that. And I find that you are not only a great organizer, which you are till today, and you get cultural exchange programs in a major way. You got into that at some point. But coming back to the to this 60s again, and your journey in rock music, I happened to have I was in Germany and I happened to attend what is known as Finkenbach. And this Finkenbach, there was this musician who came to India, to South India, and learned Nadaswaram. So he learned Nada.
Yeah.
And then he went back and then he got into this fusion music and experimented with it in a major way. So did you ever get into Indian classical and rock and all that?
Yeah.
Could you?
So first, let me tell you the gradients
Yeah.
from which I have come. So what happened is that after 88,
Yes.
I got back to music.
Yeah.
I launched the first original album that any Indian Western musician has launched. It was called Allegiance.
Okay.
So all the 12 songs are original songs written by me,
Okay.
gospel rock,
Okay.
and it was released on a world-class label called CBS.
Okay.
CBS
yes,
is a giant
yeah.
label.
Yeah.
And so I was the first Indian to have an original album on CBS
Okay.
in 1988.
Uh-huh.
I was nominated for the Dove Awards in Nashville
Okay.
for this. I was the first Asian ever
Okay.
to be nominated for the Dove Awards for this particular album called Allegiance. And Dove Awards is an equivalent to the Grammy Awards.
And which country was?
Nashville is USA.
USA. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
Dove
afraid
Awards,
I'm-
Dove Awards
Okay.
is an equivalent of Grammy for
Grammy,
gospel
okay.
music.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So I was the first Asian to be nominated for the
Uh-huh.
Dove Awards
Okay.
with this album
Uh-huh.
called Allegiance,
Uh-huh.
which was released by CBS in 1988.
Okay.
It is re-released 3 months ago by Sony now. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
All my 10 songs. Sony bought the rights,
I-
polished up the original reels, and has released this album on YouTube now. You can
Yeah,
see it.
I've heard one of them.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
heard them.
1988, I did that album. Then a big milestone that I reached in 88, 89. As soon as I released the album, Bhuta Singh, who was the sports minister,
Yeah.
called my managing director R.V. Pandit in Bombay,
Huh.
who owned CBS, and said, I want a singer from Bombay who will sing in Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium for 1 lakh people.
Huh.
It will be live to the nation.
Yeah.
And the event we are having is called the Pre-Olympic Games.
Huh. Okay.
Seoul was having the Olympics.
Ji.
All the top athletes of the world were invited
there.
by India to come through Delhi
Yes.
and have an invitation games
Okay.
and then go on to Seoul.
Ji.
So all 100 meters champion, 200, everyone, big
Brilliant,
delegations from everywhere. So pre-Olympic Games, Delhi,
Huh.
and this Joe Alvarez records a song from his album,
Huh.
One India.
Huh.
It's on that album.
Yes, I heard it.
I took
Thank
the
you for
track
sharing.
and I sang with my karate gi in Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium. There were 1 lakh people in the stadium, the whole cabinet, the Gandhis were there, everybody was there,
Very nice.
presidents and kings and whatever. And it was also live to the nation. So the event was great.
Yeah.
Mine was the opening song, so I got a lot of mileage as a Western singer. My marketability in the capital went
up.
sky high. And
It was a great opportunity.
Yeah, from 1988, that led me into many other things. Major things were performing for President Clinton's entourage
Yes.
when he came at the Moria Sheraton. Then the government invited a few of us. Rajiv Gandhi wanted to put Western music on Indian television.
Okay.
We had only Doordarshan 1 and 2
Yes, yes.
at that time.
Yeah.
There were no, color had just come in. There were no, all these multi-channels that you have. And he invited, I was one of the invitees to that meeting. Ki bhai, how do we put Western music on Indian television? They invested 200 crores, the government, in a production center called CPC, Central Production Center in Delhi. And they bought all the high-end equipment to make these music programs in-house, Western music, pop and all that. So I was one of the artists that influenced that decision and then curated to a certain extent most of the acts that performed. I was a national face on Doordarshan for 3 to 4 years on popular programs called Umang Tarang
Okay,
and Pop Time.
Okay. I've heard Umang Tarang.
Yeah, so I was always there and I'm one of the originators of that program
Okay.
for Doordarshan.
Okay.
So that was a milestone. That was part of, another thing that no other Western musician was able to do. So I was able to, with that I got in touch with all the top classical giants. Amjad Ali Khan and me were the guys that launched CPC in a concert. Gurdeep Maan and Amjad Ali Khan and me sang for the inauguration of CPC.
Okay.
I was always staying at Moria Sheraton. And the government, and then I started doing big gigs in Delhi for big brands. Now Hero Honda, the Honda company,
Yes.
wanted to bring out a new bike called 90, Passion 90. And they had a advertising plan that included stadium rock concerts where Joe would ride on that Passion 90, the new bike. They built a ramp onto the stage. I would ride in the stadium one round, come on the ramp, and the band has already started a song. I get off that Hero Honda, the Honda bike, jump off on the thing and start singing this, whatever I'm singing.
Dramatic.
So that was another major tour for a big corporate that had 10 to 20,000 people in each city. So
it was a touring thing.
tour Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bombay.
Okay. Across the nation.
So this corporate kind of thing started. Then I became the most sought after, or one of the most sought after Western voices for the emerging television industry. The ads.
Okay.
And all the English ads were either sung by me or Gary Lawyer. He has a low voice. I am a powerful tenor.
Okay.
So whoever wanted that kind of voice, most of the English ads were mine
Okay.
and Gary, depending on the product. So stuff like HMT watches or this, what is that, paint, Dulux paints,
Okay.
or Coca-Cola or Thumbs Up. Most of these ads were done by me in the 90s. And
90s.
I worked for directors like Vanraj Bhatia,
Okay.
Louis Banks, Leon D'Souza. English voices, nobody was in my league because of all this Delhi affairs that happened. We got into the government limelight and I started getting called for all these major gigs.
Yeah.
And then I would bring in musicians from Bombay, handpick some Delhi musicians, get somebody from here, somebody from there. And so became a kind of a celebrity as far as Western music is concerned. In the meantime, I also became vice president of Wizcraft as it emerged as an entertainment management company. Because they wanted me to bring my commercial experience to expand their fold. So business development, vice president and all that. And then I helped them with a few other things. But then I found that Wizcraft was going the Bollywood way and Bollywood was starting to grow. And my Western pinnacle was being neglected by me working with them.
Okay.
So I left Wizcraft and I found my own company called Galilee Superstar Entertainment.
Okay. Okay.
And from that, I started pioneering with my industrious knowledge. I sussed out the hotel industry and its needs, all the 5-star brands, because I was performing in them. And I found that they were bringing in very cheap entertainment for their bars and all that, Filipinos and Yevo. And they were not churning money for the hotel. And my travels with my Air India free tickets, because Connie, my wife, was flying. I had free tickets to fly all over the globe. I had to fly all over the planet, sing with bands in New York, in Frankfurt, in Melbourne, in London, in Germany, wherever else I went, and formed a database of about 400 artists.
You could.
And then this idea ki bhai, let's elevate the entertainment industry, Western entertainment, in the 5-star hotel industry to generate revenue for the hotel. And my first client was Taj President. There was a guy, Farhad Jamal, who was general manager there.
Okay.
And they had what was called the Library Bar. Very popular place. Everybody goes to have. But Farhad told me, bhai, Joe, we want to close this bar down. We are not making any money, this, that. And I said, no, Farhad, wait. I've just come from Hong Kong. I've seen a fabulous duo that will change the revenue model if you bring them in.
Okay.
So how much will it cost? I said $2,000 a month residency. They'll do 6 days a week and they'll change your model. I guarantee that. So he said, no, we are under FERA and I can't spend so much money. I said, I'll underwrite the salary. That $2,000 I will pay if they don't make money in the first month.
Okay.
And you pay for the airfares to send them back. He said, okay, if you're underwriting it, we will go for it. So we brought in the duo called Noel and Maria. Brilliant people. Now the insights of me bringing these kind of things was I learned that you cannot be subservient playing music. You have to be dominant.
Yes.
You have to know the audience. You have to know their tastes. You have to be able to have prime super talent on stage that is not singing meekly, but is singing with a sort of authoritative disposition that will draw the audience. So when I used to travel, I used to look out for these kind of bands that already knew this revenue generation game. They are super talent, but they know how to make money for their employers.
Yes.
And I started recognizing talent for talent and everybody knew me as a musician because I already sang with them. So I'm not an agent. Nobody suspected anything. And I said, I want to elevate the music thing in my country, where I bring in all good-looking bands, very talented bands. But you're making like
Much more.
20, 30, 40 lakhs for the hotel every month. Much more. So that experiment with Noel and Maria at the Taj President worked, with the result that they were kept for 9 years
9 years.
in the library bar. Their son
Okay.
educated himself in IIT, Powai,
Okay.
and went back a bloody graduate. And the Taj started calling me, ki, bhai, who supplied this band? And they said, Joe Alvarez. So everybody started, my phone never stopped ringing after that.
Okay.
The Hyatt's called, the Sheraton's called, the Marriott's later started calling, the Leela. I did a lot of work with the Leela Hotel.
Okay.
And the Taj called it. So I had, the best of times, about 20 bands in the country, planted in hotels. I used to earn a commission every month of a standard fee. And I brought in classic talent that raised the revenue bar of those bars. Gins in Delhi, popular nightclub. I bought a 14-piece Caribbean band. They paid so much money. Those guys played for 1 year. So, I mean, it was booming, you know. So, this is one of the insights that I got from my factory. How to sell, what to look out for quality, what are the ingredients that a market needs. I studied the hotel industry because I was performing in them. And I knew the top guys, so I only used to talk to the vice president and not try to sell underneath, and I'm not banging doors because I was already a established artist. They knew that if Joe says something, it happens. And they would never ask me for videos. They would trust my gut. I would say, buy this. And
So they would.
Yeah, and they would. And they'd import them. And everybody made money. So for Clinton, for President Clinton's gala, I imported a trio from Chicago, black trio, that backed me at the concert. My daughter Shefali also sang at the presidential banquet. And I sold that trio to Gautam Anand. He was general manager of Moria at that time. His brother Nakul is still vice president of the hotel industry with the ITC group. So everybody realized that if you pay top dollar, you get great entertainers, you get a great return. These people were staying in the hotel. They had F&B. They lived like kings. And this went on. I sort of ruled this market. Simultaneously, I was performing in very big shows and always doing presidents and kings and this and that. And that's where the fusion story crept in. And as a creator of products for music, I also sing cross-legged on stage in the Indian tradition and sing rock or blues or pop. So I started performing with a tabla player, Zakir's brother, Fazal Qureshi, Sabir Sarangi, an Indian classical vocalist always doing alaps in my band, and I'm singing the melodies and the song, and an electric band behind me.
That's quite a combination.
So I had giants like U. Srinivas, who passed away very early. Mandolin Srinivas did about 4 concerts with me, which we did for the president of Montreal State, Canada, for some royal engagements, for promoting some diamonds and Mercedes brands. So this fusion thing I started doing in corporate shows, which was quite unique. They never saw a rock singer singing cross-legged. I can sit for 3 hours and sing. So obviously I had
all your yoga paying off.
Had Indian musicians with me on one side. I found it very interesting to fuse Western music with Indian elements. Interestingly, and the product also became a commercial success.
So Joe, it's just an idea. What you are giving us is an overview. At some point, I think one should go through all this a little slowly and then also understand how it is influencing music in general in India. And since you were never involved with Bollywood, or you decided not to involve yourself with Bollywood, but Bollywood is also changing, and how much kind of influence this is having on them. It would be nice to do good research on that.
Yes,
What
course.
you've pioneered, and so what was the impact?
When you say Bollywood,
or the
again,
reverberations?
there's a first that I had.
Uh,
This Mansoor Khan, who has produced Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak,
yes.
Amir's cousin, is a
Yes.
soul brother of mine.
Huh.
We had a band together in Pali Hill.
Okay.
And his father, Nasir Hussain, who made big films, loved my voice.
Okay.
And at that time, he was shooting some film called Zamane Ko Dikhana Hai. And he said, Joe, I have to have you in my film. I said, Uncle, I don't sing in Hindi. He's saying, no, you sing in English, I don't care. I said, who's doing the music? He said, R.D. Burman. So he took me to R.D.'s house and he told me to sing whatever I want to sing in front of R.D. R.D. loved what he heard. R.D. told me that I have not heard a power like you and a range like you. If I give you an Urdu teacher for 6 months and you learn Urdu, I'll make you my #1 vocalist. I said, I can't think in Hindi, man. I'm a rock singer. I've come from rock, blues and all that. Kahan se abhi, get into just doing Bollywood and Jabardasti. So then I said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. But then he said, you please do your English song in the film. So I composed a song called Joy for Living.
Okay.
And R.D. produced it. It's there on YouTube and all that. So that was the first Western musician that ever sang in a Bollywood film an English song with R.D. Burman. That is also a milestone. So that was my first Bollywood involvement. Then I sang for 2-3 films, but all in English. Mumbai Matinee and something else. Salim used me and somebody else used me. But English songs. But my daughter Shefali has 15 major hits in all the Bollywood, a lot of Bollywood films. That's another story.
Mr. Alvarez, you were telling us about your journey as a singer and a musician, and how you were performing at various places, what were the influences, etc. But I see today that you also do a whole lot of events, and where you get people from, one of your major contribution to my mind is where you are getting musicians from across the globe to India and to these various events and all that. Tell us something about that.
Yeah. So my journey as a musician changed into a broader aspect of music, where I thought that to be relevant in time, to expand my own market, my own creativity, my own joy with the field of music and entertainment, because of the background strengths that I had with industry, with talent recognition, with being an active performer myself, I thought it would be great to start producing giant events where I had music festivals happening. And my first break came with Lavasa, this property of Pune, where my friend was the CEO, a certain Nathan Andrews, who knows me from way back as a rock singer and stuff like that. And Nathan said, we are building this city and we want to create footfalls so that people from everywhere can come and see what's going on. And I came up with a plan of having these giant festivals, multiple artists, and in the valley over 2 days. And he said, let's go for it. So I budgeted everything. I planned the festival first year, and we had great artists. I don't know who came in the first year or second, whatever. But I did 4 major years of big festival in Lavasa to create footfalls. We had an average of 90,000 to 130,000 over 2 days. They came in droves on bikes and buses from Bombay, from Pune. These guys arranged special buses from Pune. And so it was a major success because they wanted to get about 30,000 people. With this effort, we got about 130 over 2 days. And I had bands like Shankar Ehsan Loy, I had Mame Khan, I had Sharon Prabhakar, I performed myself, many others, dancers as well. So that became a big corporate success in terms of a reason for doing a festival and not for money. It was to create footfalls for an industry that is building a giant construction project, you know. And so since it was a success, this Gulab Chand and his whole firm with Nathan and all that started getting me to do more kind of smaller events also in different places to promote the brand. Then I got into doing major events for what is called Johnny Walker's Gold Club.
Okay.
That Sanjeev Malhotra was the vice president of Oberoi Hotel, and the Gold Club of Johnny Walker Whiskey was run by HTA Direct, Hindustan Thompson Agency. And they wanted to do promotion of a very high class for Western audiences. And so I designed what is called the best of Broadway musicals.
Okay.
And I had 5 or 6 of the best vocalists in the country, a beautiful dance troupe. I recorded tracks of all the hit musicals, and I had each one singing.
Okay.
And a dance troupe performing. And we had this at the Oberoi hotels in Bombay, Bangalore, Kathmandu, and Sri Lanka, to an invited audience of 200 top guns with their wives for concert and a silver service dinner where Johnny Walker was served in the foyer. I always kept the respect of the music in such a way that there was no alcohol served while the performance was on. I made it a rule from the beginning because everything is sacred. They must listen to the talent. So we organized that the drinks were served in the foyer first. Everybody had 2-3 nice shots, got 1 glass on the table. We did 45 minutes. Then they go out again and have their fill and come back for the second half. And so the music remained sacred. After that, dinner was served, silver service and whatever it is. So this was a big hit all over the country with that brand, Johnny Walker.
Okay.
And so I started producing events, custom building corporate entertainment events. One of the big things was 2000, cut to 2000, where Millennium Year, hotels had the history of spending huge amounts of money on New Year Eve nights. This is long before Bollywood came on the scene. And for New Year's, every hotel wanted to have a foreign band or foreign troupe of dancers and stuff like that. So as I was very integrated with the hotel industry, as explained earlier, and with the commercial experience and knowledge of their need. On New Year's, this Millennium New Year, I sold entertainment to about 17 hotels.
Okay.
And I was staying in the Fort Aguada in Goa with a phone. I didn't perform. But I brought in such huge bands and dance troupes, and I didn't manage. I was a supply to all the top hotels in the country. And that was one of the biggest sales I ever had in one day.
Okay.
So I had already become quite an authority on these kind of things. On the phone, I could get artists from everywhere. And so that became a great part of my foundation as a entrepreneur with industrial experience in the entertainment world. About management techniques, production techniques, scrutinize art forms in a industrious way. I was able to create events that were world class, and my corporate people who have money are world traveled heads. I used to only deal with the CEOs. So they know that, that we are getting something like you're buying a Rolls Royce in India without importing the car and paying import duty. That kind of thing. So I raised the standards of entertainment, live entertainment on all kind of parameters of Western entertainment. And I became a big go-to for foreign entertainment on their special nights. All this was rocking till Bollywood came on the scene and DJs came on the scene. And gradually that phased out the Western music demand for these big occasions, and Bollywood crept in. So I ruled this roost right up to 2005, even 8, I would say, where, hotels bought big stuff, great entertainment from abroad. I used to import from Canada, from Australia, from Russia. I had all kinds of artists coming in for these needs. And then I expanded the firmament again. A strange twist of fate brought me another platform. That you must understand, ye kya hua? It was a cosmic intention that this should happen for me. That I learnt later. So there was a jazz festival planned in Bombay during the time we had that attack on the Taj Mahal Hotel. Kasab and all, those guys.
Yes.
And the festival was already planned, and the bands were all going to fly in and start performing the next day and stuff. But as soon as that happened, the organizers called everybody, in fact most everybody, and told them not to board their planes and not to come to Bombay because this is cancelled. But they didn't inform the Montreal Canadian band that was hired to come. Plane tickets were bought, they came on the plane, they landed in Bombay and were not informed not to come, so they were here. And they had nowhere to play. And their consul general, who was a friend of mine, Benoit, who has now passed, he called me and said, "Joe, can you help us?" I said, "What happened?" He said, "My band has come to play for the jazz festival which got cancelled and nobody informed them, and otherwise they would have not boarded. What can you do anything?" I felt the only thing that I could do is maybe host a performance in my house on my terrace that can accommodate quite a lot of people. But I had a lot of resistance from my family, from my friends. This is happening in Bombay now, yesterday, and the whole country is aghast with this, the press is with this, the neighbors are all, everybody is talking about this attack on the Taj, and you are having a concert and planning to have a concert on your terrace. What's going to happen? And then I examined the dictates of my heart to see that what would happen if I went to Montreal on an invitation and I was not able to play anywhere and I catch a plane and come back. How will an artist feel? So as an artist, I thought, let's do an acoustic show where there is no amplification. We'll have softer performance. I'll invite the top cream musicians and, about 100 people, and let these guys play and have their souls happy that they came and performed, So against all odds, I had the concert on my Bandra property terrace. And they came in and they played and we interacted and we all jammed, and a lot of our top musicians were there. So they were very happy that they played to the cream of Bombay's musicians, the jazz heads. Acknowledged. Like Louis Banks, everybody was there. And everything happened. They went back very happy. Then we get a letter, thank you letter from them to me. The pianist was the band leader. He happened to be, I think, the Prime Minister or the President's son. We didn't know that.
Good.
And he sent us an invitation letter to come to Montreal and perform. So I bola, it's like a dream come true, foreign country, my first. performance, ye wo. So, but who will pay for the airfares? So they invited, they would do hospitality on ground there, hotels, the stage, everything we would get. But we had to find somebody to pay the airfare to take us. So I had, fortunately, a few friends, and I called the government of India, cultural wing, and my younger daughter's father-in-law, a certain Deepak Bhojwani, ambassador to Spain, Portugal, Havana, ye wo. I called him and he made a call to somebody in the External Affairs and ICCR about the airfare. Ki bhai, they've got this invitation letter, why don't you help them to? So then they in turn empaneled me with ICCR. So I qualify for being sent officially.
Okay.
And so they paid for the airfares, and we had our first performance in Montreal for 40,000 people at one of the venues on the street with the Hyatt Regency backing us. And to us it was a dream come true, because all these guys that played with me are the cream of India. Sheldon on bass, Gino Banks on drums, Louis Banks on keyboards. I had a horn player from Germany who's one of the greatest players in the world now, Tony Lakatos. I had a Karnataka violinist, Bala Iyer, who's brilliant. And another singer, Samira from Bombay, who sang a bit of classical music in all my stuff. So we had this eclectic band playing at the Montreal Jazz Festival, living at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, and having 40,000 people.
Very nice.
So I announced, how many Indians in the crowd? There were only 2 from Bombay who have migrated to Canada.
Okay.
But they came to listen.
But all Canadians, sir.
All Canadians. Full price. Though it's on video. I've sent you the video.
You sent me the-
And so that was my first international performance. A dream that I had as a young kid to go out and sing. But the spiritual world does not allow you to do what you want with your lack of wisdom. So it prepared me for 45 years before I did my first international concert. Now when I went out as a mature man with wisdom, with the ability to control, with the ability to, hold things together and take a whole band out. And I understand God's ways like that. So He never lets you down, but He'll give you these big platforms only when you can really handle the energy.
Yes.
Because He gave you the talent, He's going to give you the stage also. But not in your time, in His time. So I learned that. And from there, Government of India from 2015 started sending me out to many nations. I have done the Havana Jazz Festival in Cuba. Fidel Castro's son was in the audience.
Okay.
We performed 2 big concerts in Cuba. And then I went to Mexico. I did 10 to 12 concerts in Mexico along the whole Narcos route with my band, same band. Then I performed in Colombia, all for the Government of India as cultural music ambassadors. Then I performed in Jakarta, Java Jazz, where I met Sting, superstar Sting. We used to swim together in the pool, and we became friends while swimming and discussed our repertoires. And so the joys that I've had on these international platforms of performance are you meet your heroes, all the Grammy heads. They are so humble. After the concerts, we jam together in the hotel because the hotels arrange a jam ballroom where all the musicians, after all their concerts, come and have burgers and beer, and everybody is playing with everybody. So you're playing with your heroes. I mean, it's a fascinating experience. And so Java Jazz I did Singapore thrice. I performed for the President of Singapore at what was called the Indian Chamber of Awards Night, Chamber of Commerce. 800 Indian businessmen had this event at the Ritz-Carlton and invited me to perform. And so I organized an American jazz band from Hong Kong expats and Singapore expats.
Okay.
And I flew them in from Hong Kong, and I performed at the Ritz-Carlton. So Singapore, I did 3 concerts at the Esplanade. Nice performing arts theatre. And for India, I've done 2 major concerts there as a jazz ambassador. And so these are the kind of countries I've performed in. Mentioned all that. So continuously doing that, we were meant to perform in Turkey just before COVID. Airfares were arranged, visas were arranged. COVID happened, that tour got cancelled for ICCR. And after COVID, I am still expecting to go, but ICCR had to go into a restructuring and all that was going on. So at some point, we will go out again. But so the international performances added a new dimension to this singer, Joe Alvarez, who never dreamt in his lifetime that this possibility would happen. Another aspect on the acknowledgement front of inculturation. This is an acknowledgement by the government that we Western singers are part of India. This music is part of the 50 years of inculturation. So that's an acknowledgement, which is a very good thing. Otherwise, ICCR is filled with 3,500 artists, but all in the Indian genres of dance and music and whatever it is, drama. So this came also as a very happy acceptance ki government is quite
and it is a form of recognition, as you said, acknowledgement.
Absolutely.
And it also legitimizes you in so many ways that you are Indian, you sing in English and you're performing outside
it legitimizes that, and the world is astonished that a band like this exists in India, because half the time they used to tell us, you belong in New York. What are you doing in Bombay? Because, I mean, we rocked the audience. We got the cream of our nation playing. And, we had great concerts. Every concert has been a destroyer. We have destroyed. In Colombia, and I'm doing only original music, by the way. I forgot to mention that. I don't do covers. I have not been doing covers for all my international concerts.
That's important.
So the most important thing is that, if you do your own original music to international audiences, they don't compare you with Stevie Wonder or Sting or Ozzy. This is original. Uska khud ka lyrics hai. Music is like this. Influences they can understand. But there's a greater appreciation, respect, acceptance for original music. So everything for me clicked at the right time.
Yes.
I started writing only in 2014. And I play enough piano only to write my songs. I'm not a piano player. So I have my piano at home. I do my compositions. I write the melodies and the lyrics. And then I invite my pro musicians to interpret it on stage in a very different manner, So
sorry.
Say.
I just wanted to know, we talked about you as a singer, we talked about you as a, a guitarist and playing.
Singer, not guitar. Keyboard player.
Keyboard player, sorry. And
for composition.
And we talked about you, playing with the band and singing as a lead singer in various bands. But I never asked you whether you've had a formal music training or not.
So I have had no formal training. It's completely naturally God implant. But walked the path of performance, aware fully about my path, about the discipline required, about the things to do to improvise and be a better performer on stage. I learnt the trade with a great amount of discipline from the time I came back in 1988. Because when I left in 77 to 88 were my reformative years.
Yes, you mentioned that.
Where overnight I dropped everything, got into prayer. Prayer is still a very powerful part of my life, and that's why I'm able to do what I'm able to do. And so it's an admixture of the walk of life and the intent of the Creator of how this flower can bloom on the earth and have a nice fragrance for humanity, So this manifestation has been helped by the spiritual life that I have
True.
practiced in a very, very, very disciplined manner every day.
So there has always been a debate between a formal creative education or a freestyle learning, where you learn with your experience, you go play by your ears, and it is only out of passion that people follow the other paths. People have a desire to become great artists and all that, and they usually follow the formal method. And there has been a lot of debate on what are the advantages and disadvantages. And many top performers are not formally educated in the field of arts, at least. So many painters and so many musicians.
The reason, say you finish.
But in India, of course, the traditional, the Paddhati played a major role, where your ears get tuned from your very childhood and all that.
But that is the classical music story.
That's a classical music story.
3,000 years of Karnataka Tyagaraja's compositions. That is the oldest tradition. Your North Indian is 1,500 years old tradition. But Carnatic music is 3,000 years old. But that's another story. The thing is that art is an implant from the divine. There's no question about it. Education, earthly education, is not going to polish anything if you don't have the original diamond.
Yes. Yeah.
So you cannot pull out a singer, somebody who wants to be a singer, and give him the best education in the world, but he's still Besur. I mean, you know, so art is a divine implant, whether it is artist, singer, dancer, whatever it is. Anything to do with the arts is a magic carpet given by the divine, so that this soul understands a higher platform already of the ordinary world of tribulation.
So this is an encouragement to a whole lot of people who, kind of feel apologetic about not having gone through.
Education added to the one who has talent will make that person shine much better. For example, I'll give you a gross example, where music education in the West, in Europe, started in about 1200 AD. Okay, music education. And through the conservatoires and everything else. So there's a certain discipline endowed with music education. The USA has Berkeley and all that is 50s onwards, but they have education management oriented 150 years. India, on the Western front, and all that you see in performances, there's been no music education. So I used to import more foreign bands at much cheaper rates who play much better music to back me. So this strange scenario I dominated. And if I do a concert, now at least there are musicians who play correctly, who abide by that stage discipline. They have learnt and things are happening. But music education makes a big difference in the performance. Whether it's rock, blues, whatever, jazz.
So, Mr. Alvarez, I think we had a great conversation, and we would now like you to listen to your piano performance.
If I can get this instrument on. I have never used this thing, but let's see what they have set up. They have set up something, right?
Yeah. So we would move from here and move to the...
Let us see what I want a synth sound. I hope I can get one. You touch my heart, you touch my soul, you gave me loving, you made me whole. Life can be strong when I'm burning with the fire of your love, of your love. You came along like sunshine bursting, dancing through the floor. How can I forget you? Baby, you're asking for more. For more. Whoa, love, I am crying. Hey, girl, I'm dying. 'Cause you gave your love to me. You set me free. Now I'm alone in the wind. Oh, yeah, no, no. Touch my heart. You gotta touch my soul. You gotta make me whole. Touch my heart, touch my soul, touch my heart. You gotta touch my soul, touch my soul, touch my soul, touch my soul, touch my soul. Wherever you go, I go with you. 'Cause your fire is burning up my mind. Never give up, walking with you. Baby, you done it for all time. So simple in trust, I gotta see you. You're the vision of everlasting dreams. Lifetime of searching, now I know you. Baby, you done away my fears. 'Cause I'm lost without you, can go on without you. I am lost without you, can go on without your love. 'Cause I'm lost without your loving, lost without your eyes, lost without your tender loving care. I am lost. Those were the days of my life. Love keep calling all the time. Now the days are gone and I'm feeling alright. Those were the days, I said those were the days. Those were the days of my life. Miracle of life hit the dawn. Mother Nature danced with the swan. Now the days are gone and I'm feeling alright. Those were the days, those were the days. Those were the days of my life. Further down the road, I see a home in time. Weary traveler keeps his bag on the line. Expectations bring a heart to a blind. 'Cause love, she sounds always high. A broken tear gotta make a young girl cry. I don't know why she said goodbye. Don't know why. I don't know why. Don't know why. She said goodbye. She said goodbye. She gotta say goodbye. You always lose somebody in your life, man. So you sing about it, heal your heart. God gives you love from above, never lets his children down. Heals the broken hearted, gotta work on this song and make it more intense in time.
We're so happy to have you here,
It's a pleasure.
Mr. Alvarez, and the conversation was just the beginning, and I hope we'll have you here many more times.
It will be my pleasure.
And listen to all your experiences at various places in India and abroad and all that.
Sure.
Plus also get to know various artists,
Sure.
well-known artists through you.
Sure.
We have a little tradition here where we give a little small gift to our visitor.
That
And-
tea snack was a great gift.
No.
You're spoiling me.
So this is just a little token.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
And thanks for your great performance. It is
Oh,
so
how lovely.
nice.
Thank you, thank you.
We're
It's
so
been a
privileged-
pleasure.
We're so privileged to listen
It's
to
a
it.
pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for
Namaskar.
having me.
Namaskar.